Hi, everyone, and welcome to the lecture number 40 of the Self Knowledge course. In this lecture, we are going to learn about the dance of the Dervishes and the transmutation of cosmic forces. I want to invite you, in case you are not yet part of our WhatsApp or our Telegram groups, to find the link here in the description of this video and join our groups, because there you're going to be receiving this free self-knowledge course along with the complementary material on each of these self-knowledge lectures. And well, the objective of today's lecture is to give us some tools that we can use to perform better in our esoteric work. Today, we are going to be learning some practices that will result in a very good complement to the work we have been doing in the practice of the three factors of the evolution of consciousness, which are actually the ones that lead us to awaken our consciousness. And these practices that we are going to be learning today are going to complement or help us to be successful in all these practices of psychological death, of sexual transmutation, sacrifice for humanity, but also with the practice of science, of investigation, such as astral projection, or, for example, transcendental meditation, since these practices that we are going to be learning today will allow us to improve our ability to concentrate, right? Which is very, very important for us to succeed in any practice, and will help us to receive strength for our inner work. So let's study this dance of the dervishes and also the transmutation of cosmic forces. And well, let's start with the dance of the dervishes. Who are the dervishes? Well, actually, the dervishes are masters from Turkey who live in the desert, and there are singing dervishes and dancing dervishes. Singing dervishes are the ones that teach the processes of consciousness through songs, through music, right? And the dancing dervishes teach through dances, through some runes, how the body can be in harmony with the universe, right? These runes mobilize forces within us that are very useful to achieve concentration. So these practices aim to help us to achieve concentration. And we must do these practices before performing any of the other practices of self-knowledge in order for us to be successful in them. If we want to obtain good results, let's say in our astral projection, we perform these dances before, and we are going to enter that practice in a very good mood and a very good state of mental silence, right? And our body is going to be in a very good vibration to perform better in our practices of astral projection. The dances of the dervishes that we are going to see today are three different runes. They are very simple. You're going to see very simple movements. We are going to see how they are done so that we encourage ourselves to verify their effectiveness. And the first of these dances is very useful because it unloads the liver, the solar plexus, and the emotional area in us. So this makes this dance very helpful for achieving astral projection, because astral projection is totally related to our emotions, to our liver, right, to our solar plexus. And this dance also aligns or coordinates our three brains: the motor brain, the emotional brain, and the intellectual brain, so that we can have better concentration in any practice that we're going to do. In addition, this dance organizes and rotates the 7 chakras correctly, because due to the poor management of our energy and of the waste of our energy, right, that we do every day, all along the day, these chakras are rotating counterclockwise. So these dance make them rotate in a clockwise direction. And this dance is very simple. It actually consists on just standing with our arms open, our palms facing up, And from that position, you begin to rotate clockwise. You are going to do a minimum of 21 turns in order to feel the effectiveness of this dance. And when you finish rotating, you're going to bend your right leg forward and you're going to put your left arm on your right knee that is bent, right? And you're going to squeeze your forehead with your right hand so that there is no dizziness. If you do it for 8 days in a row, you are going to realize that there is no longer that feeling of dizziness. And if there is, it is very little, sorry. And you're going to be, you start, for example, with 21 turns, but you increase that as you feel. 30 turns, 45 turns, as you feel, okay? And why we stop feeling the dizziness? Because the liver is being unloaded. And that when we detoxify ourselves, because this dance helps to do so, we start feeling the difference and we don't feel the dizziness. And as I told you, try it before practicing conscious astral projection, and you are going to experience the results. Okay. And well, what is the second dance of the dervishes? Well, actually, this dance is to quiet the mind. Most people work all day and carry a lot of worries, right? And they are those concerns that don't allow us to concentrate when we are meditating, or when we are trying to achieve any practice. If we are, for example, intellectuals and we sit all day in an office, it is necessary to balance ourselves a little to be more relaxed and better focused on the practice that we are going to do. So it is advisable to do this dance for 5 or 10 minutes. You decide so. And it is a dance that coordinates the three brains. First, it quiets the intellectual brain, since the best way to quiet the intellectual is by not thinking. And when we concentrate on coordinating the three movements of this rune, the mind becomes silent. And it also puts the emotional brain in the mood that is required to be able to start any practice. And it also balances the motor brain. So this exercise is very, very useful and it's very simple. And we only need to begin to jog in the same place. And at the same time, jogging is like the first movement, right? At the same time, we're going to begin to clap rhythmically back and forth of the body. And that is the second movement, clapping back and forth. And at the same time, we are going to be turning our head from one side to another. So we are going to coordinate the movements of our legs, the movement of our arms, and with the movement of our heads. And that is the whole exercise. Undoubtedly, while doing the exercise, you cannot think because no thought is sustained there because you're concentrated on coordinating the three movements. And then the internal balancing process begins to occur. If we do this exercise for 5 or 10 minutes before any practice, we will obtain a much greater ability to concentrate on that practice. And that is the second dance. As you can see, something very, very simple. And the third dance consists also on coordinating three movements. It is similar to the second one, but with a difference. So in this one, we begin to jog in the same place, right? That is the first movement of our legs. And at the same time, we're going to begin to clap, but now to the left side while we turn our heads to the right side, right? And then we clap our hands to the right side and turn our heads to the left side. So it is like this. And we are going to coordinate that movement with the movement of our legs. Very simple. But you have to practice until you coordinate the three movements very well. And in those two dances, the second and the third, the important thing is to coordinate those three things: the movements of the head, the movements of the arms forward and backward or to the sides, and the movement of the legs. And finally, breathing, you're gonna see, is also coordinated. And when we have enough practice in this, they are done very, very easily. You know that practice makes perfect. Okay, if you dare to practice these tenses daily before doing your other practices, you will see very beneficial results. So I encourage you to practice them. And well, those are the dances of the dervishes. Let's now look at the transmutation of the cosmic forces. Um, this is a work that we must do consciously. This work is to help our planet Earth, right? Because this transmutation is carried out between the planet Earth, the microcosmos man, sorry, that it is what we are. We are a microcosmos, and the Sirius Sun, which is the central sun of the galaxy. When we do this work, we gain actually dharma for the conscious help that we are doing there to the planet, because actually with this practice we are cleaning the energy of the planet, and the dharma that we receive by doing this practice is reflected in the strength that we get from participating in that work. Planet Earth needs, and now more than ever, our conscious collaboration. And when we do so, we are charged with a spiritual energy and strength for our inner work. So before starting to do this practice, it is good that we first perform the dervishes dances. You said the order, you said which ones you want to do, or if you want to do them the three of them, that is your decision. And then when you have sufficient concentration by doing the practices, then you sit and perform this practice. Something that we must know is that planet Earth has its sun inside. In the very center of the planet, there is this sun that is called Melchizedek, where we inside us have our internal sun, known as the nose atom. Yeah, no sun that is in our hearts. And in the center of this galaxy, of this Milky Way, in which our solar system is, there is a sun, the central sun that is known as the Sirius sun. There is where the army of the voice is, which we talk in about the conference 28 of the phase 8, where we talk about the universal Christ, remember, which is the union of beings of light, or self-realized masters, the cosmos creators, who forms the army of the voice. And from that sun, from the Sirius sun, comes all the energy that sustains this creation in this galaxy, right? Actually, if one imagines the spiritual sun series, one sees a spiral of little lights formed by millions of angels that move the army of the voice of spectacular brilliance. And depending on the degree of concentration that we have in the practice, you are going to be able to see that. A person who performs the transmutation of cosmic forces for 1 to 2 hours can see things like this. The opportunity to see it is achieved with good concentration. So, this work will be done by transferring energy through these three suns. So, the energy is cleaned. We do this work by first invoking our inner being, because for our inner being, there is no space or time. So the distance to the Sirius sun doesn't matter. The distance from where we are to the center of the earth, the 6,000 something like that kilometers that are more or less to the center of the earth, for our inner being is nothing difficult. He in a second can be there. So what we're going to do, we're going to sit with our palms facing up, and we are going to imagine the vortices of reception and transmission of cosmic energy that are in our toes. We are going to put our feet on the ground or on the floor, right? And then we're going to start transferring the energy from the planet Earth, entering through our toes to in our body, to our heart, and then we're going to transfer that energy to the Sirius sun. Then we're going to take back that energy, already clean, to our hearts. And finally, we're going to deliver that cosmic energy to planet Earth. And that is a complete transmutation. So we carry energy with a procedure of breathing and imagination. So we are going to inhale, and while we take the energy from the center of the earth to our hearts, we're going to be inhaling. Once we reach the heart, or once we take the energy to our heart, we're going to retain the air. While with our imagination, we take the energy to the Sirius sun, and we bring the energy of Sirius to our inner sun while we're still holding the breath. Okay? And then we are going to exhale through the mouth as we deliver the energy to the planet Earth. For doing these practices, you can be sitting or you can be standing, it doesn't matter, but as it is advisable to make at least 30 minutes of this practice, it's good to be sit there and very concentrated. But something important is that we are going to imagine 5 infinity symbols or 8s, right? So we are going to inhale. We are going to first to make the first 8 in the center of the planet. So you're going to imagine the sun that is in the center of the planet. You're going to make with your imagination the first 8 or infinity symbol, and you inhaling are going to bring the energy entering your toes and reaching your heart, right? And there you are going to make the second 8 in our hearts. Then we're going to hold the breath, and we're going to take the energy towards Sirius through the crown. Is going to exit the energy because the crown is the man's exit point of the planet. Then we arrive at Sirius. We imagine Sirius and we make the third 8 there. We are going to return the cleansed energy to our hearts, still holding the breath, right? And upon reaching the heart, we are going to make the fourth 8 with our imagination there in the heart. And then we are going to exhale, expelling the energy to the center of the planet. And there we make the fifth 8 there in the center of the planet. We then inhale again, first 8 again, reaching while inhaling our hearts with that energy, second 8 here. Then we are going to, while retaining the air, take the energy to Sirius, make the third 8, returning the cleansed energy to our hearts, make the fourth 8, and then returning the energy to the planet and making the fifth air there. So if you can see, it is just a breathing process with that procedure to be transmuting that energy. You imagine the energy, for example, of a gray color, right? And you're going to start even feeling the energy, feeling the temperature, right? The temperature of the energy. You're going to start feeling the heat of the energy running through your body. So I'm going to explain you again. You're going to be there sitting, palms up, your feet on the ground or the floor. You're going to imagine the 3 suns, the one that is in the center of planet, the one in your heart, the one in the solar, in the Sirius sun, the central sun of the galaxy. You inhale, right? Imagine an 8 in the central sun of the planet. Take the energy while inhaling. Take the energy to our toes, through your body, towards your heart. There, you imagine the second 8. Then, you retain the air, send the energy to the Sirius sun. There, you imagine the third 8. Bring the energy back to our heart, to your heart. Then the fourth 8, and then you exhale the air through the mouth, right? While you imagine the energy going down and reaching the central sun of the planet, and there the fifth 8. Breathe again, repeat the process. So you need no rush, right? You're going to be there. Just concentrated. Complete breath, inhalation, retention, and exhalation will take from 30 seconds to a minute, depending, of course, on the lung capacity of each person. So there is no need to worry about running. There is no rush. And we repeat that procedure as many times as the time we have allocated for the practice. I hope you dedicate a daily schedule to this practice. As I was saying, minimum 30 minutes, and you're going to start experiencing the results of this practice. At the end of this transmutation, we feel charged with a very special energy to practice anything, to practice astral projection, meditation, whatever. See, it is a very special energy. The more energy you have transmuted, the better you will feel. You're gonna see it, and the better you will be able to concentrate to do other practices. As I was saying, you can imagine the energy silver gray when you pick it up from earth, in, for example, golden or blue when you return it from Sirius. And at the less expected moment, you're going to start to see the Sirius sun, to see the energy. You're going to see the current of energy that runs through your body during the practice, when you are enough concentrated. And well, there are certain conditions to take into account for this exercise of the transmutation of cosmic forces, and they are to be barefoot, right? In a quiet place, if possible, in direct contact with the ground. It is better. You feel more the energy when you are barefoot and there in direct contact with the ground. If you don't have that possibility at the moment you're going to make the practice, make sure that at least there are no insulating materials such as carpets or rubbers, under your feet. And just if you are there in the floor, be barefoot, okay. If you are in a second floor, then it doesn't matter. Just try not to that there is no carpets below your feet, and then you're going to feel the energy. And well, that is all. These are the practices that we had for today. I hope you are encouraged to practice them to verify the results. And well, this has been today's lecture. Remember that if you have any question on this lecture, you can leave your questions there in the comment box, and we will be gladly solving your questions. If you are not yet part of our groups, you can find the link here, because in our groups we're going to be sending written material on the explanation of these practices, the same we do with all the lectures, right? And also the audio of these explanations. So if you want to hear that explanation again, then you have the MP3 to return to listen to the lecture. And well, I want to invite you to our next conference that we are going to be sharing next week, in which we're going to talk about the two kinds of knowledge that exist. In that conference, we are going to learn to differentiate between the objective knowledge and the subjective knowledge. We are going to understand which one serves us to inner advancements, and what are the negative consequences that accumulating subjective knowledge brings to our consciousness. So don't miss that very interesting topic, and well, see you next time. Bye bye.